Hello, beautiful souls. It's not like News back at it again with the second day of the New Empire Media interviews. Today we have
Carolyn Dad.
Carolyn Dad, like your father. Apparently, that's her tagline. Yeah, she was like, I'm like, wait, Carolyn Dad. She's like, yeah, like your father. I was like, oh shit, okay. All right, so today we're just gonna go over some simple stuff. I've been running interviews, and I thought I might as well put the actual footage on for content for you guys to see because these conversations are actually great. So I'm gonna ask Carolyn 3 questions. I'm gonna ask her just to tell me about herself, how she heard about the opening, and then, yeah, the last question, the last one is time. So, Carolyn, you wanna tell us about yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Carolyn. I just like to pretty much think of myself as just a creative. I'm always looking to expand my knowledge in new areas, but I solely focus on video and film. So I'm a film major. I go to college for film currently. I also love photography as well, so that's another thing I take up on the side as well. And I'm always looking to explore and learn new creative routes. I also love acting as well, so that's something that I'm slowly starting to pursue as well.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah. So, do you want to just give a little background about your brand and like what it's called?
Yeah. So I go by Cosmic Rays. That's my kind of brand that I go for with my video and photography. It's just a little bit of a freelance business that I kind of have just to keep me busy on the side from school. Yeah.
All right, great. Do you want to just tell everyone how like you kind of heard about this opportunity?
Yeah, so I heard of this opportunity from Mahad. I kind of just, I guess you can say, got like brought into this kind of miraculously in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
I just met him, and then we kind of just followed each other and kind of kept up with each other in our work, and ended up started working together, and now we're here.
yeah, it's been great. Carolyn actually did a really cool video for us for the Off the Grid with Ghost movement that we have, which is like a little bit like a marketing and advertising record label that we were doing for promotions. And that's a great video. It's gonna drop soon. And after that, I kind of really liked how Carolyn's work ethic was and how like she was really good at what she does. And I wanted to bring her on as my personal assistant, who's gonna be taking care of a lot of different ventures throughout the Empire Media. So just so you know. Yeah. Other than that, it was pretty simple. Do you want to just tell me what creative expression means to you?
Yeah, creative expression for me, I would say, is taking the opportunity to like take risks and to not, I guess the most simple way to say it is to not stay in a box. Really just kind of
Let's talk about that before you go on.
Yeah.
What does it mean for you to be put in a box or stay in a box or accept that you're in a box?
I feel like sometimes we might have something in our gut that might be like, I want to do this in a creative aspect, but you might limit yourself a bit more just because, at least for me, this is from my experience, because sometimes I feel like I can do that where I'm like, no, maybe that's too crazy, or maybe that's because at the end of the day, if you've never seen somebody do something before, it's like, well, like why would that? Yeah, like why would that work?
Yeah.
But then it's kind of just having that faith in yourself and trusting in your own creative process, and kind of just trusting your gut with where your mind is creatively.
That too.
And really just taking that step to like express your creativeness.
I like that.
Yeah, I just think that sometimes we limit ourselves a bit more than, like, we'll come across an idea and we'll already have a box because we're like, I think even with COVID being something where people are like, okay, well, I can only do this, and then it's like, well, actually that brings a lot of opportunities for a lot of things that you might be blocking off. So I think, creative expression, it's really just, I think, trusting your gut and maybe just letting your guard down, I would say.
Yeah, I actually like that, because for me, like, creative expression is more about, like, for example, like how like a certain person dresses, what music they listen to, like how they choose to, like, the colors they wear. Like that's all creative expression for me. And like what you said about like not being put in a box and the risk is very important, because like creative expression is about being vulnerable. It's about like really connecting through vulnerability, right? That's like the main thing. So it's interesting you said that, because like over like the other 3 people that I talked to this about, like they all kind of had similar answers, but like I never changed mine based on theirs. But I would say I would add to my answer now, creative expression has a lot to do with risk too, because kind of risking your I guess your status, image, I guess, and kind of jarring it against like society's expectations of you, and it's just like, do you, like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's just like, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a lot about risk and
it's a risky thing. It's also a very vulnerable thing when you're involved with something that technically there's no right and wrong. So essentially, who's to tell you that that's good or bad? But at the end of the day, it's like trusting your gut, and just if you believe something is good, then at the end of the day, that's what's good.
Yeah.
Because who needs to tell you what's good or what's not?
Yeah, I think that's just like, that's what the problem is today. Like, people just get so caught up in other people's story, their journey, like what worked for you, like, oh, I'm gonna go do that now. It's like, people don't really focus on their own skill set, their own light, and like what they have to offer. And I feel like people really like get distracted.
I agree. I think also something that I've kind of, maybe it's been prevalent for a lot longer than I've seen, or till I've come to this point. But I think a lot of the times, sometimes people might get caught up in that validation of,
for sure,
especially, I don't know what's the right term for it, but I would say like social media.
External validation.
Like social media, like especially when you start putting your work out on a platform like Instagram or Twitter or something like that, you start, getting instant gratification of those likes and things like that. Yeah. Maybe one of your posts blows up. Now you kind of, it can get to your head if you don't control it. And I think that it's like a really important thing to realize that like followers does not equal like, first of all, success, because your opportunities can come from, of course it's always good to have networking. Exactly. I think that having a lot of followers can give you exposure, but it's like, is it giving you the right exposure where you want to go with your own work?
Absolutely.
Because everyone's journey is different. It doesn't matter how many followers you have, because at the end of the day, that person who might have 100,000
could be getting fucking paid doing what they be getting paid with what they do.
Or they could be like this isn't even what I want to do. They don't feel like there's no passion there anymore, and they might lose that actually, and the drive is just completely gone. And that's another thing, protecting your passions too. Yeah,
that's definitely important. It's like about staying motivated, because I think like the whole creative aspect is like, it's one thing to be motivated to want to work for yourself, but to actually, because for me personally, like this is a studio I do headshots in, right? Like, I love photography, you know this, but like headshots is kind of like, fuck, I have to do a headshot today. If like, I even had my buddy here at the studio pull me inside. He's like, yo, you're thinking too much about the money. Like, you can tell in your work, you're just, I don't know, he said straight up, he's like, yo, you're thinking too much about money. I was like, oh shit, it's true, because I was like, come in, do the headshots, get out, right? So I started making it more fun for people. I started like, making it more like cater to the person. And it was just interesting, because like, people really like, how do you explain this, like,
reciprocated that maybe?
Yeah, they reciprocated that, but like, it's more about like when I started operating more from passion, like, not only did I get better, I started getting more clients, like the experience with the client was better, they started giving more referrals. So it's like passion, like I said this like in a couple of interviews yesterday, like it's passion over profit, but like it's intention, right? Like I started photography because I loved it, and then I'm like, oh wait, I can make some quick money. Then now it's just like, okay, I gotta kind of relax and go back. And then I started doing like a couple of shoots for free again and stuff, because like it's always good to build your portfolio like that.
Yeah, for sure, always. And I think staying humble is a very, very important thing.
That's more so like on the person than anything else. Like more about like that than but other than that, where do you see yourself like in 5 to 10 years? Does it even have to be like job related position? Like, do you see yourself like creatively? Do you see yourself graduating? Do you see yourself doing something on your own? I remember you said you wanted to put some movies onto different film festivals.
Well, I guess I'm on my way to start that. Who knows where that's gonna go? But starting to really put my work out there, and hopefully within 5 to 10 years, something. I guess it's funny because I'm gonna say I would like something to pay off, but when I say pay off, I mean more so like, sometimes you just want your things to be seen and heard, and stories to be told and things like that. So I hope that there's a story that I tell that really resonates with a lot of people and can like really, that's my favorite feeling when I create something, when people have that reciprocation of just like
I know what
genuinely
it's like,
yeah,
to relate to it.
or even just genuinely
Appreciate it.
liking the story and or liking the way it was executed, I keep saying that wrong, creatively.
That too.
Yeah, so but I would say I really like fashion, so I always want to incorporate fashion film or fashion photography. Something maybe in those high fashion brands would be really, really interesting.
Like Paris fashion or like European fashion?
Yeah, like even like a Vogue commercial or something,
Oh,
or
shit,
something
that's
like
great,
that.
that's great, yeah.
I've always had this like desire to do something kind of with the fashion.
Yeah, no, it's
yeah,
cool.
I always love that.
It's crazy because I actually do have a wardrobe-based shoot coming up. I was gonna get you and Colin to go on. It was gonna be, I was gonna have you guys style the entire like scene, style everyone there with the clothes provided, all vintage by the way. You know, like that. So, yeah.
My favorite.
Yeah, so my homie's gonna provide that. So
That's so
it's gonna be
sick.
lit. It's gonna be lit. Yeah. But other than that, do you have any?
I'm down for that. You always know I'm down for that.
So do you have any other questions?
No.
All right. Well,
Thank
that's
you.
been great. No problem. Everyone can follow Carolyn at her page and her brand page down below in the bio. And yeah, a lot more of these interviews to come. I want to thank everyone for being patient. And yeah, that's bye from me. All right, guys. Thanks.